Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our first NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 32 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNoah.com and Maestri Field, as you saw this past week with the dedication of the First NBC Bank ballpark. And that was a nice job by Ashton Ryan and his company for stepping up, Lenny, as they do so frequently.
They do. They, as Ashton is so often to say, they're a bank in New Orleans, and they believe in investing in New Orleans. Their money isn't coming from New York or from other places around the country, so they want to give back to New Orleans, which is why we're proud to have them as a sponsor of SportsNoah.com. Of course, also the first NBC Bank Prep Showcase, which returns on Tuesday night.
It certainly does, with Jesuit of New Orleans against Jesuit of Tampa in a Jesuit matchup at Jesuits Field, John Ryan Stadium, at 7 p.m. at SportsNoah.com live, and then on WHNO on Wednesday. Oh, by the way, Jesuit Tampa's colors, blue and white as well. So that ought to be pretty fun. Now, college basketball. Let's start there. The Sun Belt Conference Tournament, a resounding success and an unbelievable championship game after a great tournament in which the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana came back and won in overtime and get to the tournament for the first time since 2005.
Terrific. Couldn't have written the script any better. If you saw the regular season meeting, I should say the second regular season meeting between UL-Lafayette and Georgia State, it was a lot like the championship game yesterday in that Lafayette got the lead early, held it at halftime. Georgia State with a big run at the start of the second half. Lafayette with a big comeback late. The only difference was Georgia State got the last basket right at the end of regulation in the regular season. This time, Lafayette got the last basket, forced overtime, won the game in overtime. Just a terrific show for the Sun Belt. First of 3 years at Lakefront Arena. And, hey, by all indications, you give the folks from Lafayette a chance to come to New Orleans, an excuse to come to New Orleans because they got a pretty good basketball team. You saw not only a compelling product, but a great atmosphere.
Good show by Carl Benson and his staff. Look forward to next year as well. The arena looked great. And, of course, the Cajuns are the only Louisiana team in the NCAA field, an ongoing issue for college basketball in Louisiana. Louisiana Tech, a narrow miss, they're going to the NIT. LSU, a narrow miss, they're going to the NIT as well. Tulane's going to that other event, and I'm happy for them, and yet it's really inconsequential.
Well, I mean, they do get a chance to continue to play, and they get to play a home game. Tech is playing a home game. LSU has to make the trip out to San Francisco and visit one of our old friends, Scott Sidwell, the former Tulane baseball player and employee of the Zephyrs and at Tulane and so many places around here. He is the AD at USF, so a familiar face out there. But Tulane at least gets a chance to have a home game against Princeton. You can expect Tulane's not going to make the NCAA tournament on the women's side. You can expect tonight that they will get a first-round home game in the women's NIT for another year. They've done that several times now, so we'll see how that goes.
Indeed, and Louisiana Tech home against Iona, and of course LSU's women will certainly be in the NCAA tournament and likely hosting, although they'll not be the highest seed in their regional. The New Orleans Pelicans, a winner in overtime last night over the Boston Celtics. They blew another lead late, but they rescued it despite a last-second shot that sent the game to overtime, and Anthony Davis continues to prove that he's emerging as an elite player in this league. Top 15 for sure, maybe approaching top 10 status. Remarkable performance last night with 40 points, 21 rebounds, 3 block shots. First time that's ever happened in the history of the Hornets, the Pelicans, and it's a rarity in NBA history as well.
Right, it's only the 8th time in NBA history a player has put up those numbers, but, just 2 nights earlier, he had a career-high 36 points and then came back with another career-high with 40. So, not only a lot of people talk when he came into the league 2 years ago that was he just going to be a defensive guy who was going to block shots and maybe rebound and not be much of a factor on the offensive end. We're seeing that's not the case. The guy can score and can be a factor on the offensive end and has done things to really improve his game as he continues, stretch out that range to be able to shoot.
High school basketball and 3 area local state champions. Country Day repeats in 1A. What a remarkable performance. Plaisance was playing hurt. He fouled out. They lost another starter to injury, lost another player who fouled out, and they still won the game to capture the championship over Madison Prep. And then in 2A, Riverside fought off a tremendous effort by Lakeview in what was a jump ball game until the final minutes of the game, and the Rebels are repeat state champions. And then, of course, in 4A, Landry Walker, Consolidation School first year, and they win it all, beating East Jefferson. So great showing by area schools.
Yeah, Landry Walker with a dominating effort in the first half against East Jefferson. EJ did make a bit of a comeback in the second half, but that was an extraordinary first-half effort by Landry Walker. And a game, it should not have been a mismatch by any means, matching the 1 and the 2 seeds in 4A, and they blew out to a huge second-quarter lead. Riverside in the semifinals had a similar type of thing where they, what I believe was 35-2 in the third quarter of their semifinal game. Just some remarkable numbers, not the types of things you expect to see when you get to the semifinals and finals, but congratulations to all of the local teams.
And turning to football with regard to the Saints and free agency, the latest addition is a keep, and that's Zach Strief, and it's a long-term keep, and that's a great move by the Saints to keep a guy that played maybe more solid than anybody else on their line, is a natural leader and a captain of the team. So good retention. The Saints are looking at fullbacks in the free agent market, so they're not done yet.
Not done yet, and the 5-year deal probably means it's cap friendly. We have not seen the details as of Monday morning in terms of what it will be, but clearly there's going to be a signing bonus that gets stretched out over 5 years the way the cap works. Probably a very low-end deal in terms of salary for 2014. So you do lock him up, but at the same time you're able to protect yourself very well against the cap.
And stay tuned. It's going to continue to unfold in the days and weeks to come. Last but not least, college baseball, and it was a rough weekend for area schools, with the exception of the Louisiana-Lafayette Raging Cajuns, who swept, and the Delgado Dolphins, who swept.
Exactly, and I mentioned on Twitter on Saturday, normally we're seeing Friday, Saturday, Sunday series now, but rain in the forecast on Sunday. Everybody moved up to a Saturday doubleheader, and LSU, Tulane, and UNO went a combined 0-6. When is the last time have we ever had a day when that has happened? Yeah, just not a good day. Not a good day.
I would doubt that that's ever happened before, given the circumstances. So we move forward with another exciting week of local sports, and we'll keep you posted. Lenny, it's always a pleasure. Have a great week.
All right, talk to you later this week.
That's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank, with 32 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. For Lenny, I'm Kenny. Have a great week, and God bless you.